So there was an idea. Tony knew it. It's called the Avengers Initiative. Okay, so maybe not an idea that big, but just like my favorite superheroes, this story has its own origin. So we go all the way back to 1997. My childhood best friend and his family had left Midland to move to Austin. And my family traveled down to visit with him. And just like most people in West Texas, on Sunday you go to church and then afterwards you go out to eat. They said, hey, we want to take you to this new restaurant we discovered. Great. So we drive. We pull up to this restaurant, Chipotle. And I'm thinking, what's so great about this? It looks like Mexican Subway. We walk in the door and we go order. And I get my burrito, fill it with rice, beans, chicken, cheese. Wrap it all up. Go sit down. Still thinking, okay, what's so great? We've got Mexican restaurants all over the state. I took one bite and I was hooked. And that bite followed me all the way back here, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. How do I get Chipotle to Midland? Now, in 1997, I was just 9 years old. I didn't know what anything I was doing. But I couldn't stop thinking about how great that was. Now, I know out here in West Texas, people love to go out and eat, and I've definitely got my fill. But still, I couldn't kick, how do I get Chipotle to Midland? In 2010, my brother was a student at Texas Tech. And like smart people from Lubbock, they wanted Chipotle as well. Now, maybe not quite the level of creativity like Buddy Holly singing about Peggy Sue. We were singing about Chipotle. And there were some students on campus who said, you know what? Let's leverage our student population. There's a great new website called Facebook. What if we combined our collective love of Chipotle and gathered that on social media to say, hey, what can we do to bring Chipotle to Lubbock? So my brother's telling me this story, and I'm like, that's fantastic. And sure enough, about 1,000 students are on this page. And it was enough to leverage developers to go to Chipotle and say, hey, there's a community wanting you. So they build. In 2011, they opened. And my brother, being just as much of a fan of Chipotle, stood in line for 2 hours to go get that first bite. So what did I do? I launched my own page. Bring Chipotle to Midland, Odessa. And it started out small. But we grew. We talked about how great our love of this restaurant was. And we talked about how great our community was. We were trying to leverage the social conversations with the economic data and the demographics of what makes Midland great. Now, it took some time. And a few years later, Chipotle announces they're coming to Midland. And just like my beloved Spurs, I celebrated hard. The week they opened, I was there for lunch and dinner 5 days. The staff knew me by name, and I knew them by name. We were family at that point. But just like winning on the court and winning with Chipotle, I couldn't stop. People reached out and said, hey, how do we continue this momentum? Can you bring this place or that place? And it was daunting. How do I create all these different pages and try to manage all of them? I didn't want to do that. But I couldn't stop thinking about how do we change the conversation to get these places here? Because so many people still viewed Midland and Odessa as just a tour of duty. They still wanted to go to Dallas, to Austin, to Houston, to go talk and go visit these places that they want to eat or entertain themselves or shop. Why couldn't we do the same? Why couldn't we have those? So in 2018, we launched Maybe in Midland, Odessa, with the idea of leveraging social conversations and economic data to try to bring those developers of those types of businesses in restaurant, retail, and entertainment to think about coming to Midland, for them to say, you know what, maybe in Midland and Odessa is our next location. We have an economic powerhouse underneath our feet. And it's a good thing money doesn't grow on trees, because we'd be broke out here. But we sure pump a heck of a lot of it out of the ground. In fact, so much that the economic strength of our two communities is equal to that of Tucson, Arizona, 4 times larger. In fact, our combined metropolitan gross product is equal to the entire state of Alaska. So why can't we get these places here? Well, unfortunately, the story that's being told to developers is not a great one. They still see Midland and Odessa as separate. But as we all know, that's just not the way things are. So we started collecting these social conversations. We started gathering all these people online to say, hey, what do we want to bring here? How do we get them here? At the time, I was working for a global risk and human capital management consulting firm that had a lot of these places as our clients. So I just went into our data book and said, who's the contact information? And we started reaching out. And we've had conversations with every single one of these businesses. Some of them not so successful, some fruitful conversations. But we wanted them to see the bigger picture of what's going on in our community. And so far, we've grown our online community to over 20,000. In fact, in the week since I sent these slides, this number has grown by 200. People are hungry for things to have here. While improving education and healthcare and housing are great and important needs, we get bored. We need things to do. And so we're leveraging those. But we're not just leveraging that to bring these things. We're leveraging it for social good. One of our biggest successes was helping the Midland-Odessa Transportation Alliance utilize our online community to tell TxDOT how we needed that extra money from the Unified Transportation Plan to be spent improving infrastructure. Because I'm not getting In-N-Out Burger here unless the highways are better. We've become a page where businesses will tell us, local businesses, small business owners, say, hey, we're launching this new business. Can you share with our community? Help us grow our presence. Sure, why not? Let's get excited. We've helped nonprofits like the Museum of the Southwest or Rope Youth promote their businesses and their services. And we've had great reach. Just this week alone, we posted two new businesses that are, one's opening and one's coming. And within a 36-hour time frame, 60,000 people were reached. Our greatest reach happened to be April 20th of 2020, a day most of us remember well. It's the day that the price of oil went negative. And it was a day that, as a community, we weren't sure what was going to happen. So we just shared what we thought was going on and said, you know what? We know West Texans pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. We know that we're going to get through this, whatever may come, but we're going to rally around each other. That one post reached nearly 400,000 people in 24 hours. Let's talk about what's going on 4 years later. So 2022. Some of the cool things that are coming this way as a result of us talking through how do we reach these businesses. And we're trying to hit a target of 15% of our local population Because if you can get 15% of any demographic to believe in what you're doing, you'll get the majority to follow behind you. So for us to get there, we've still got a long ways to go. But it doesn't mean that we're not excited about what's coming. And it's finally to the point where even our local news institutions are finally legitimizing what we're doing as a reliable news source. Like Chewy's, another Tex-Mex place, is finally coming to Midland. We've got places like Buff City Soap, who the CEO was my contact to bring Topgolf to Midland. There's a lot that still needs to be done. And it's not just trying to create an online community to say, hey, how do we get these things here? Because we know there's still plenty of things that are more important than, getting Costco to finally say, come back. We need you. I need you. But with that being said, there's a lot of great opportunity of leveraging our social media, because it's not word of mouth anymore, it's world of mouth. With one click, we can reach thousands of people, whether that's for another restaurant or to support our community. Now, other areas that we're looking towards, as we're always looking of what's the next big thing, is we're helping developers identify target areas around our community as future development. Our community is growing fast. And I hope it doesn't slow down. But how does a community of 340,000 with an economic strength of nearly 1 million differentiate itself to say, you know what? Maybe we need to be in Midland. Maybe we need to be in Odessa. Well, we've got to tell a better story, because we're not really good at it. But all of these locations are important, because as we improve the quality of place, just like the Quality of Place Conservancy, we're helping to improve all these other aspects of getting people to stop seeing Midland as a tour of duty, but as an opportunity. Being someone who grew up here, I wanted to leave so bad. But because I stayed, how do I make it better? How do I make it where the fact that I'm now older than the average age of our community, to get those who are now younger than me to say, you know what? Let's plant roots in Midland. Let's have a family in Midland. Let's not just come out and spend 3 or 4 years to head back to Dallas or head back to Houston. We've got a lot of work to do in a lot of different areas. But one thing young people are good at is leveraging things using technology and social media. Now, you won't see me on TikTok because I can't dance and I can't do those things. But I do know what I know well. And what once was a love affair for a burrito has now turned into an opportunity for a love affair of a community. So, what is your maybe? How do you leverage your maybe? Thank you.